Hello everybody, good evening. Friday night here in Australia, and pretty much knocked out most of my job queue for the week, which is good. Means I'm going to be nice and bored on the weekend. But this Xbox turned up. Darren Dutton, Travis, Daniel, Miles, and yeah, supposedly we got like a 5 second powers up for 5 seconds and shuts down. So I've never worked on an Xbox of any type for that matter, so this is going to be an interesting situation. Just see how I go. Looks like someone's already been into or tried to open up this, because I can see there's a security sticker missing here, and I can see chip marks on the Torx screw backs. So yeah, someone's had a go at this, and it's got a little bit of a bow down the bottom here. I don't know if that's normal or not. Maybe it's just sagging from the weight. I'm actually quite surprised how heavy these things are. A little heavier than I would expect. I'm just going to confirm the fault first by plugging in and seeing how it looks like. We're going to have to plug in closer. Okay, that's in. See what happens. Is that the on-off button? Maybe we should rename this to Paul doesn't know how to turn on the Xbox. Ah, there we go. Okay, so we got white light. Alright, does indeed power up and shuts down. Okay, so we're gonna need, looks like a T10 to me. Naturally I've got T8, T9, T10. VDog, Wes, Phil Pritchard. Alright. I wonder how many traps I've got in this thing. Sort of, I don't know why they can't make consoles moderately easier. It should be like a small form factor PC or even a DVD player where you just take the top panel off and everything's in there ready for you to get access to. Phil says normally a 12 volt short. Interesting offset design here. It's like a Japanese puzzle, wood puzzle. They don't want you repairing them. Really? Yeah, it does seem that way. Okay. I can feel that the top wants to move. It's definitely Japanese puzzle box style by the looks of it. Interesting. Is there more screws? Let's put my glasses on and have a look. Pop off. Pop off means basically like nothing to me. Hey, 10 minute. Oh, I might have to go iFixit. Spudger and separate. Hey Mark, Christian. The bottom piece. So this. Ah, got it. There we go. It was like a Japanese wood puzzle. Just had to get it just right. Oh boy. This kind of reminds me of looking down at a... Okay. Ten, 10, 10, 10, 8, something bigger than 10. Interesting that they've got cheese head screws and round screws. Different combinations. Don't take out the APU screws. Oh, Jesus. Which ones are the AP? I'm going to guess, what are these? These are the APU screws, I'm guessing, yeah. I'm going to guess these are all just top plate. The main thing is, I'm going to mark the cheese head screws as unique. Might just... Oops. Oh wait, got stuff at the front to deal with. And they look like they go through. Alright. It's going to be T8. I don't usually use these particular screws with my MacBooks because, yeah, they're a bit clumsy to handle. But they do seem to work pretty good for consoles. They're just a cheap set. Alright, this one's a longie. Yeah, they're all the same size. Okay, there's a flex down here as well, it seems. Like that there. Get that out somehow. Feels like it's got a socket connected to it. Yep, it has. Okay, so far no destruction. Alright, I'm going to mark the cheese heads. And then at least I know whichever ones are not marked, they're going to be the rounds. Not sure what the distinction is though. That's neither a T8 nor a T10. That's more like a T9 or... no? 18W. Well, that's interesting. That does not look right to me. That looks like that's actually detached. Yeah, that doesn't look right. That looks like that's come off from the board itself. Yeah, the question is, did I do that? Probably. That's crazy. You undo something and it just tears it clean off the board. That's hilarious. Yeah, it doesn't look right. So let's have a look at this. Yeah, this is like, you know, you get... Yeah, that's just completely popped that off the board. very cleanly at that too. Oh, that's no good. I didn't even get a chance to deal with that. Bugger. Alright, at least we can solder that back on. As this Travis, I didn't do that. Okay, alright. Well, let's try solder it back on then. We'll just gently displace it. Is this a common fault on them? This kind of feels like it was maybe on a bit hard. Okay. Alright, so Travis seems to think this is a possible cause of my issue. Now the question is, can I actually get it back on there? Thanks, Tech32. Alright. So I guess what I'm going to try and do is avoid having to disassemble the whole thing. See if we can rework this just as it is. Yeah, I was going to say, there's no way I sort of did that, because I could certainly feel if you tear off something like that. Alright. Let's get. If it powers and shuts off like clockwork, it's not the only issue. Oh, well, I guess we'll see, shall we? I'm going to go Jason Vilma levels of solder, very little solder. Oh, sorry, flux, I mean. Hey, Sinclair? Paul Merritt? Yeah, that's why I didn't put MacBook in the title. Okay, the good news is that in spite of the massive shielding around it, the board itself at this area is seemingly very... it doesn't have a lot of thermal mass. I'm just going to pick off those little pieces of solder that I've stuck on there. They're just little dregs that dropped off from the tip of the iron. Nice thing is, of course, they haven't stuck to the metal. But I don't want them hanging around. So if I do this right, I should be able to just get that back down, no problem. Famous words, I know. I'm just going to try and rotate this to make it easier for me. I'm going to go with a low temperature. And I am going to put a little bit more flux down, because I feel like it's going to spend a little bit of time warming up. Because I am coming in with a very low temperature. Hey Patrick. So this is I'm only going at 360. What I could have also done is just simply wick away all the old solder and then try and individually solder the pins, but due to the fact that it's recessed around this metal chassis, it does make it a little bit harder to do it that way. There's a bit of a tendency to hit the hit the soldering tip on the edge of the metal, and that can make it Yeah, just make it a little bit harder to do a nice clean job. Still, we'll see how this goes. Obviously I don't want to melt the plastic. I already did clean the pads with the iron. Or you mean of the connector itself? The heat is definitely being drawn away a little bit quicker than I want. Sort of would have hoped for it to start reflowing by now. This thing's been a pain in the backside. It's always tricky when dealing with a whole new setup. You don't know what you're fighting against, or trying to deal with in terms of temperatures, how much heat it wants. You also don't want to damage the part. We're gonna melt the connector. But I think the problem that I'm facing here is that this surrounding chassis really does a good job. It's so close to doing the reflow. Hey Jim. Yeah, everything's it's the metal is just sucking all the heat away. That is annoying as feck. Damn it, I really don't want to use the iron. I have my reasons. Because even with the iron, you're fighting it. And it's already hot. Yeah, see, it's going to be just as tricky. I'm going to have to assistive heat it. I'll get some leaded solder down on the various pins, then I'll come in with the assistive heat. This is not a proper soldering job yet, so people watching go, oh my god, you can't solder for shit. So this is the prep work where you lay down the ingredients of what are going to be there, and then you come back with the assistive heat along the soldering iron and you finish the job properly. Okay. Okay, so we're back at 250. And it's struggling even with that. Definitely wants more flux. It's getting to the point where it's going to force me to use the big iron. James Ewing. There's a little bit of a Hershey's kiss on that ground pin there, but we're going to turn around, fix up the other side first, and come back to the Hershey's kiss. Generally prefer not to use wick on these sort of situations. I find at these smaller scales the wick has a, well, at least my wick anyway, has a tendency to just end up drawing all your solder that you tried to put in there away, and you have to sort of go back and start again. So I'm pretty happy with that other side. We're going to just do a little bit more on this side. Now let's see if anything is floating. Ow, the chassis is hot. So you're floating. See how there's a gap under there? So we need more solder up here. Probably not that much though. Ah! Put my fingertip on the... I'm just going along and I'm filleting in the pins. And once again I get the Hershey kiss. So go. The joy of ground planes. The Xbox model is listed in the title. Oh, they're different ones of even the 1X. Ah, hilarious. Okay, they're all fixed. Hey, Michael Tritz. Oh, right, okay. Well, it looks like I didn't necessarily have to take this thing. I guess I did actually have to take that thing off, otherwise I probably would have ended up ruining it. The question is it easier for me to reattach? I think it's easier for me to reattach that flex and then reinstall. Okay. I suppose I can just test it like this, can I? Yeah, why not? Okay. And that'll be the on-off button, right. Well, this is the Xbox One X. Blinding. Okay, it seems like it's still the same issue. Yep. Fixed one issue, potentially, but another still remains. Oh well, so much for that easy job. Jim Allen, well, at least that connector did not come out this time. It would have been rather tragic if I lifted that up and it detached from the board again. I know a couple of people who can solder like that though. Crikey, that's a long screw. Okay, nice to know that all the cheese heads look like they're the same. Okay, they look like hard drive screws, but the hard drive looks like it's screwed in already. Anyway. Yeah, 6 of them. Yep. Should I be removing something else first? Ah, lid comes off. I'm gonna guess these come off first. These are unique again. The longer one goes in there, by the way. No, that's adhesive. Dusty's pretty normal around here. Is it being held by this strip? I've got another circuit board here, but that looks separate. Travis, you know, saying take that off, all that sort of stuff, it isn't really much use, unfortunately, because of the delays in the discussion. So I can't actually, I don't know what you're referring to. Interesting, got a black one at the end here, wire 3. Okay, another 6-pin. Interesting, it's a different like Wi-Fi band or something. I actually don't even know which one wants to actually come out. I missed a screw somewhere. Oh, it's just friction fat. Okay. It was this section here that was making it difficult for me to determine if I was doing the right thing. Alright, no problem. Got that out of the way now. Okay. Ew, spinning rust. Cables snaked under there. You're doing the stupid friction adhesive crap again, aren't you? Aren't you? Power, that's got to come off before that can come out. Okay, that's my theory. How are you held down? Oops. PSU connected bottom right, got to peel it off? There are prongs at the bottom. Okay, the prongs at the bottom is what I was thinking of. Yep, there we go. It's like the PlayStation, I guess. Oh, what the hell, man? What'd they do that for? Okay, it's snared in on the side for a lock. Alright, mystery piece that we probably will not have success in getting back in. That could be fun. Coda syndrome. Well, I didn't invite this one per se, it just sort of got delivered to me. Yeah, that's going to be fun. That's going to be real fun to try and find the right place for it. Yeah, Miles, I often wonder about that. And that's why I always wonder about how much experience people have when they say that MacBooks are terrible to work on or get access to. And it's like, have you actually opened up a MacBook recently and how, you know, you can magically all of a sudden get straight to the circuit board as soon as you take the bottom panel off? There's a fair bit of trash and junk there. I mean, to be fair, things like, say, the 820-01700, yeah, the A1990 series, they're terrible, I will grant you that. But overall, MacBooks are generally pretty quick and easy to get into. Alright, well, we've got all this, and I'm sitting here and I'm going, I have no idea. I guess I am basically looking for an obvious fault more than anything else. So, get the hard drive out. Maybe I should suggest that they move up to a SSD. And I really need to get a bigger container because, well, maybe we can force this. Can we? No, don't think so. Alright, since we know all 6 of these are going to be the same, we can just take them out. Unfortunately, everything else is isolated. test the hard drive first. Seriously, is that actually something that fails? Is there any chance it's the power supply? Alright, well look, I'll tell you what, I'll go put the hard drive into the testing server. I'll be right back. Once I work out how to get this thing out. Ah, great. Torque screws. It just seems interesting that it would happen to react in that way it does, as in shutting down, so quickly after you've turned on. It's barely enough time for the drive to get up to spin speed. Okay, it's not a 5 1/4 inch drive, but even still. So what is this? 1238. I'm just going to go to the other workshop, put this in and start testing it.
Yep. Mo had a little altercation with Tabby through the fence, but it's all
Oh
good.
no. Just put these. What? Crap. What did I say this was? 1238? 1238. Okay. Well, drive seems to respond. What? Let's see how it goes. Well, it's not doing too bad initially, so I'd be very surprised if it was the drive at fault. Because typically if you're going to have a faulty drive, the first thing the system usually does is it seeks to sector O, the boot area as well after that. And it's having no trouble with that, and the performance speed is pretty good. Those stutters there are actually just more between my 8TB archive drive and synchronizing. So yeah, I'm going to say that the drive is probably okay. We'll do a dupe of it anyway, just while we're busy doing everything else. This is more than just a test. This is a clone and a test. So very worst case scenario, if things go horribly, horribly wrong, they have a backup. The nice thing is that it's drive brand agnostic. Everything else, it's a good tool. Alright, so what are my testing options here? I guess I'll pop it open the power supply and see if that has any creatures in it, because that does happen around here. Surprisingly often, unfortunately. There we go. Trying to decide whether it's better for me to cut that than try to peel it off. The clips feel very deep. Doubt it's the power supply. There's no beep at all. There was a beep when I started it up. It beeped. Okay. I can see that they've got little pinholes there for inserting a tool to latch it. Damn it, where's my second one? They repair it all? Shut up, people down the road. Jesus. Oh, right. I thought you were saying that the fact that it didn't beep means it wasn't the power supply. Yeah, gotta be... I still want to have a look anyway. If it lets me. There's certainly a reasonable amount of dust in there, but Nothing too bad. Okay. How are you guys stuck to the floor? Sim removal tool would have a hard time with that because there's a lot of tension against it, like when I was pushing it in. So you need something with a... Okay, I'm going to guess that there's a screw hole there, and they've covered it up. Alright, we'll just blow this out and then put it back together. Hey, good as old again. Alright, so I don't even know what I'm trying to look for here yet, or anything. It's, if I had to guess, it's say like a shorted line or something, I would err towards it being on the underside. Yeah. Very much out of my depth here, I'm afraid, folks. Yeah, it's just a, that air gun is just a little 3 litre airbrushing assembly. Hey, Eric. Take the heatsink off. Alright. Well, let me just quickly look without the heatsink removed, and then we'll do it. Scorpion board, eh? With, what is that? Some Halo dude riding the Scorpion? Alright, time to take the heatsink assembly off. Master Chief, that's the one there. Dust magnet's pretty normal around here. We've got a dry, dusty environment. So it's every single device, oops, short of having a device that is sitting in a room that is enclosed within like the middle of the house or something like that, it is near impossible to prevent dust around here. Yeah, it'd be good if Phil was here. And then he can just tell me what not to do. He'll probably be like, "I'll throw that in the bin." And I'm like, okay. Interesting. I doubt it'd be overheating and shutting down within that 5 seconds, particularly not so consistently. Okay, what's their strategy here? What's the technique here? Does this come off? I'm guessing it comes off. Oh, we'll have a look at... Oh, what's this? We've got some liquidy stuff here, or is it... Looks like we've got some sort of ingress. Okay, all good. Clamp has to come off first. Alright. Well, I'm going to look at the bottom of the board. Save me having to disassemble things I don't yet need to disassemble. Alright, I can see, yeah, that liquid sort of stuff is everywhere. Well, at least there's part numbers on this thing. Crikey. No shortage of decoupling caps, that's for sure. It is interesting to note that they've primarily biased it towards using ceramics rather than polytants. Yeah, they've got a couple there, but mostly it's ceramics. I feel like I'm perhaps going a little bit quick. I sort of have this tendency to iteratively traverse over boards where I'll have a quick look, and then if I don't have luck I'll come back for another look until eventually hopefully something pops out and says, "I'm your fault." But looks like we might have to tackle that X clamp after all. But I was happy to have a look at the board first without trying to deal with this X clamp. Interesting structure. Hey, Warren Stamps. Pardon me, I'm just going into Facebook now. So what's the trick with removing X clamps? Do you stick a thing in there and like pull it off to the side? Seems like a painful way of doing things. Ah, okay, so I am right. Stick something in the side and drag it out. Okay, that's fine. I had a horrible feeling it was going to be that. I don't know why they have to do such terrible, terrible methods. It'd be hard to find needle nose pliers with sufficiently fine noses. Let's see. I don't know where my awl has gone. No, not good enough. Oh, there it is. I'm trying to find the orientation that's going to give me the minimum risk, because there's all the parts down here. Well, that all's no good. Seriously, who the fuck designs things like this? You have to go in from the top. Okay. Like that. Yeah, I'm gonna struggle to get that. One and a half flathead from our fix-it kit. Well, I got plenty of flatheads that I can get rid of. Let's see. Yeah, I don't have a lobster pick tooly thingy. So I guess the question is, I would inherently tend to think I have to lever in this way. So I'm going to guess like that. Okay, I've got some movement there, so that's good. It's more bending it than anything. That sucks. So does the clamp itself get deformed, or push between the screw and the heatsink clamp, blah blah, then twist it, no damage to clamp, blah blah. Right, I am correct that need a stronger tool, yeah, because that's cheap nasty. This is my I learned to do iPhone first tool sort of bullshit. There we go. Oh, fuck me, how many are you gonna do? At least with one done, the others should be fairly easy. Look at that, no lobster tool required. Shock horror. You have to do every single damn one. Oh, that's bollocks. Except the last one, of course. Well, cheap, nasty Supercraft 3mm by 5cm screwdriver did the trick. Again, as usual, just simply knowing what to expect or how to go about it often is the greatest thing for helping you get to the destination. Okay, glad to see that all the thermal transfer blobs stayed put. UEM, yes, expert now. That's pretty much how it goes. Do your first iPhone, then you're an expert. Yeah, I really don't know what I'm looking for at this point. Is this a bit of a signature fault, or is it just more of kind of like PM Sleep S4L, where there's a billion things that can cause it? I'm gonna go with there's a billion things that can cause it. It would seem to be an appropriate thing. Great, more like S4L. Fantastic. Do you know if the console's been dropped? I don't believe so, Carl, no. I didn't see any impact marks, and they made no mention of it. Not that that means anything. Oh wow, they actually put the Xbox logo on the die. That's pretty cool. It's an interesting design choice that they've gone with putting all the RAM chips radially around the CPU. That's actually smart. Makes it much easier to keep a consistent timing and impedance on the board. Check short to ground on the caps next to these MOSFETs. C373, 322. Yeah, we got a board view for these things, damn it. Okay, what are we looking for? C373. Someone needs to do a the MOSFETs. Where the hell? Okay, what sort of MOSFETs we're looking for, by the way? D-packs or it's actually that's these blocky things, right? Interesting style of MOSFET. Okay, so I'll just check all of those for shorts. As I go, I'm just gonna check all of these and see if anything throws out inconsistent. So 529, 529. So we've got consistency going on here. 529, 529. So inputs seem good. This is obviously a different rail. Also 529 though. Seems to love that value, 529. That's shorted. That's shorted, and it is not a, as far as I can tell, it is not just a normal low CPU. That's genuinely 0. Yeah, 0.4. That's a little bit bad. So I'm gonna guess 0.4 is bad news on that one. And that, given that that's the positive, that is this is the graphics. Then again, maybe it is 0.4. Maybe that is proper. But it's still pretty low. Quite common to be power supply of this fault. Okay. Be interesting to see if someone else can report. Seven three 322. Someone should just, yeah, 233. No, no. I was gonna say someone should just make a scan of the board and just mark where the parts are, even if nothing else. Okay, alright, thanks Carl. Interesting that it's that low. Okay, so I did test these ones, right? Okay, so they're all fine. Alright, what are we doing after that then? Like, but yeah, I'm quite impressed at how low that rail is, if that is legit. I mean, half an ohm. Phew. It's probably less than that. It's probably more like quarter of an ohm because there's the resistance of the leads themselves. I'm just going to go around and check random things. Pretty sure I checked all those anyway. Bit of a nuisance that I'm not sure if I can even get power in. Not that I know what I'm even looking for. Caps and diodes by the HDMI plug. Oh, just where I was. MPS 1728. Okay, I'm gonna guess that might be this thing here. Just based on the size. I've got an MPS 1712. Okay, we're looking for a different one, eh? Oops. MPS 1732. Okay, I've got an MPS 1732 and what's this MPS H31? Is this it here? It's a 31 as well. So you want me to check around U57 or U59 or U55 or U64? The time lag is always painful for these situations. The one without the underfill glue. Okay, so none of these are... Okay, so I've got two without the underfill glue. I've got 57 or 64. I'm gonna guess 57. Oh, okay, both of them. Alright. Hey, sweetie. Oh, micro. Oh, where's my phone? Oh, right. Okay. Alright, listen, I've got to be back in a second. I've got to go do insulin shot. Hopefully it won't be too long. Good on you, Paul. Kicking the circuit boards. Sorry about that. Bear that with me. damn it. Okay. Get some more gloves. Okay, now I have to look over the chat and see what... What are we recommending here? Just see what people are trying to say. There's a cap in this line, looks suspect. I don't know which line was which, but I've obviously since moved. I made it complicated. It's probably just a hair or something like that, but we'll have a look. I'm just going to brush stuff so that it is slightly less likely to mislead people. There's certainly a lot of hair on this board. Around U57. Okie doke. Nothing squealing around 57. There was a hair there. Ah, damn it. It wasn't on continuity mode. So we'll have to try that all again. Wait, what? Oh, that was probably because I had it reversed. .9, that's probably just CPU rail, so that's fine. My guess. Yeah, I'm gonna guess that that is meant to be that 1.9. Around U64. Make up your mind, people! There's a hair on that. Nothing really else around there. I probably should wait a little. It's continuity mode on so many meters is always a little sluggish compared to what you really want. Part of the problem is that with the more sensitive meters, they use less current for their continuity mode. Yeah, I'm kind of stumped there. I suppose we could always C443 CPA shouldn't be shorted. Let's see, I was measuring this, wasn't it? That one there. So these ones were shorted, well, 1.9. This is C, I'm gonna guess 381 to 386. What was 443? Oh, was it this one? Yeah, that's fine. There's no short on those. I don't know where 443 is. Yeah, we could actually make a board view for this simply by scanning in this board. And just simply having the ability to search it. You could do it as a PDF though, to be honest too. Right, that was just me. I accidentally hit snooze on the previous alarm. Okay. So normally when you design boards, you try to cluster the same part, well, you tend to have the same, pardon me, series of numbers around the parts. So like you should have all like 400 type thing here and stuff like that. But it looks like they've just it's more of a loose sequence than anything else. Oh right, 443, there we go. Yeah, this was only showing up short because it had energy in it, I think. Yeah. It keeps varying as more charge goes into the network or into the storage caps. So, yeah. Did a crack there? No, it's just a hair. We've got lots of hairs. We've got lots of, yeah. Not really bringing up anything on these. They're just random scratches and no cracks on there. Hey, Coder! Welcome. Fortunately, Carl Weinberg has been helping. But we've got a 5-second power on and with a chime and then shuts down. And so far it's pretty gnarly there, but so far we've tested the resistances. We've got 529 on these. Nothing's jumping out yet. Check your RAM on power under thermal camera. How am I going to do that? Can I just plug the power brick back in and power it up without the heatsink? Is that what you're suggesting? It sounds like a terrible idea. So you're saying I should plug this in, turn it on. Oh, damn it. Where's the on-off button? Oh, it's okay for a few minutes. Okay, that's cool. You gotta remember, I come from the era where we started out with absolutely no heat sinks on our CPUs. Then we went to heat sinks, and then we got to the first 1 gigahertz units from AMD, and they would delightfully explode if you had no power supply, no heatsink on them for anything more than 1/100th of a second. So yeah, I got PTSD from that. You need to remove from the casing the power button. I can plug it on here, right? Yeah, bloody hell. Oh joy, they've got a keyed unit here, but they don't actually have, well obviously it's not going to go that way, so it's got to go this way. But it's interesting, they've got a keying on the socket here, but they didn't put a keying on the plug. Useless. It's too late, Coder. I've already found the button for that. Hey, fixing things? Alrighty, let's get the thermal cam warmed up. Yeah, many smoked athlons. It was an expensive mistake to make in the day. Okay, you spent a long time trying to downplay your clickbait title. I figured everybody was going to be fine with it anyway. The hard drive's fine, other than the fact that it's a hard drive. It's trying to think of the safest way for me to handle this. Oh, do not like having this sort of arbitrary contraption of wires all around me, threatening to kill me. Yeah, I noticed the clickbait. Well, I don't even know if it was a clickbait. I think it was just because of the fact that it was a PlayStation 5. You were doing the fix. But yeah, I see you got like 15 to 18,000 views already. Kind of making me some serious jealousy issues I've got going on here. You bucket of scum. Oh crap, this... Oh no, it's not. Yeah. Okay, so schematics. That's interesting. The CPU is heating up and I haven't even powered it on. Yeah, that's a hotspot on the APU. That's interesting, it's running. It's... Oh, now it turned off. Damn it. Gotta take your son to the doctors in the morning. Sorry to hear that, Paul. No, these are... Okay, I'll explain it. This here is reflection, but this here is heat. And you can sort of show that by... Yeah, so we've got a hotspot on the APU there, and then it blooms out after it powers off. But it is keeping going, it keeps going back to that one spot there. No, I don't see the logo. Well, the person just says it just does this. The light comes on for 5 seconds and then it fades out. And it's out again, yeah. So it's definitely, let's see, picks up a hotspot around about there, and then when it powers out, then the, you know, the average temperature just washes away. Alright. Well, there's not much point giving a new thermal paste because it won't even stay on at this point. I mean, I imagine that it... I just can't imagine that it would be shutting things down strictly over that, you know, thermal paste in this case. So let's see, when the console has power going through it, the consoles are set to instant, so that the console will do sort of pre-start, which includes giving the APU some juice, hence the heat. Blah blah blah. Any rework around the redriver? I didn't see it, no. This up here, that's a reflection, that's all. So we can see it's... Ah, damn it, I just killed my software. Pope, now why would you say it's a faulty power switch? It obviously is working because it functions whenever I press it, and they're momentary on switches. They don't actually carry any power as such, they're just purely a logic sense. Carla, that being the case, I would kind of think that maybe in that case what's happening is when you put the heatsink back on and you've got new paste on it, it's applying more pressure onto there. I just noticed something. There is a fleck out of the middle of the heatsink here, and there's a fleck in there. We'll get a plastic device. Oh, I see why. It's because there's stupid writing on it. Okay. Well, I'm not going to do a full service, but I am going to... I don't know what I'm doing. Wait, I'm not allowed to say that, am I? I'm just going to knock the dust off the heatsink. Holy sh... Oh, bad idea, bad idea, bad idea, bad idea. Don't breathe. No, I knocked the Smurf snot off. Stupid Smurf snot. Ah, g'day, Slick. Oh, good. Okay, so you're happy with it now, Slick? Check before you do anything. There's no damage to the traces. The caps around the APU. Also clean off the paste and check for cracks in the die. If the retimer hasn't been touched, the battery timer is most likely with blah blah blah. Okay, so I'm just going to remove this front panel of PCB because it actually was taking the load of the board. Okay, so is this the retimer chip? This TPD chip or whatever it is? TDP 158. I mean, there's some semi-shonky sort of solder in there, but nothing that looks like a U8900 failure on a MacBook. So no rework up there. Just small bits of dust, but nothing of any note that I can determine. C50 in resistance mode. Where is C50, you bastard? Okay, I can see C51, C50, okay, I got it, yep. That was lucky. Real lucky that I spotted that. So we've got 600 ohms in one orientation. We'll do the other orientation as a precaution. And 362 in the other, so there is a bit of a internal diode influence on that. Rugas, I've worked on PlayStations before. Not much, but I have. So yeah, we've got 600 in one direction, 350 call it in the other. Bye 600 no good. You're looking for 3K to 10K. Oh, okay. Interesting. So what causes them to failure? And I'm guessing what, I can't get one of those? To be fair, my PlayStation thing was just a normal HDMI port, so nothing special on that. I'll just double check those resistances. So what? Remove the Redriver and it might work. Boot at least. So yeah, that's definitely 600 in that orientation. Yeah. Hey, one way. Donor board in front of you showing 612. Okay, so that matches what I've got. I'm kind of curious how much of that resistance is actually dependent on the style of which your meter. Alright, so look, easy way to resolve this. I can just take that chip off. It's no problem to me. I can take the chip off and we'll see if it remains on. Is that the simplest way we can test this? Before we start a Russian-Ukrainian situation here. By my estimations of the design, these boards should be not too dissimilar to the behavior of a MacBook board in terms of thermal suckage. Now the only thing I do want to do is keep it away from the HDMI ports. So the last thing I want to do is get practice replacing one of those. What's this? We've got someone saying take the cap off. Well, the thing is, we'll just take the Redriver off. I mean, it's not a drama. I hope. Seems like it has pretty much the suckage of a MacBook after all. In fact, it's probably got more. Here it comes. Still got to get the inner thermal pad though. Yeah, and I wonder it was so tricky that thermal pad would have been doing everything. I sort of indicate pin 1 with that there. Well, at this point we've got a billion different views, so we're just going to try stuff that is within the capabilities of what the tools and the parts I have right now. And maybe we can get a different output. I'm just cooling off the board a bit. instance, there was a fair whack of heat that went into it. So we got, we haven't actually changed that much. We've got 400, and it actually should now be the same, I think, the other way. Nope. 400, 600. So we actually haven't changed. I guess the question is, do I put the power supply in, see if it comes up? Wow, disorientation much, Paul? So if this is like the PM floor, PM sleep S4L type situation, then yeah, there's going to be multiple possible reasons for something to happen, so you basically got to go through and eliminate them systematically with what you can. Okay. So here we go. Okay, so light is on. Nope, still shuts down. Alright, so it wasn't that, unfortunately. So we'll put that chip back on. Let's see how we go. Okay, Carl, thank you very much. I appreciate your assistance in the initial diagnosing there. That was very helpful. I will try to remember for next time. But yeah, the way that the thermal image comes up, given that it's very point-like, makes me think it's the APU. See, if you compare to, say, with MacBooks, when you heat them up, if you don't have the heatsink on there, the heat on the CPU in the die tends to be a lot more distributed. But what we were seeing with the thermal imaging before is that it was a very specific point heat, meaning that that typically is where you have a short damage in the APU, CPU, whatever. If I had one of these that was working and you take the heatsink off and you took an image, a thermal image of the die when it was starting to run, you should not really see fine, high points of heat in single locations. It should be a little more distributed. Try with the heatsink on. You bastards are going to make me have to... Oh man, you guys are the worst. Heatsink on and no... You know what, I'm just going to stick a little bit of thermal paste in the middle there for the hell of it. For funsies bull crap. I'm not even going to spread it out. I'm going to be so insulting. I'm not even going to spread it out. Oh, where the hell did that go? What the hell did I do with my clamp? The clamps! Where is it? Where'd that clamp go? I know I didn't throw it very far. Only halfway out the door. Definitely not fully out the door. Oh, this is some serious A-grade BS. Ah, here we go. Just had to complain more to the universe. And now naturally I've forgotten if there was an orientation. There probably wasn't, but well, you know. Are these just push down, or do I have to do the same sort of thing in reverse as I did to get it off? I'm going to guess the latter. There we go. Okay. Typical that my first one turns out to be dodgy like this. Why couldn't it be a simple little ruptured cap? Or why couldn't it just remain being that simple little connector that we had on the front? That would have been good. That would have been a nice, warm welcome to the world of fixing Xboxes. So, congratulations, Paul. You fixed your Xbox. All it was is a stupid little connector that Microsoft didn't put enough solder paste onto. Now you can move on to a higher level. Instead it's like, get stuff pulls, an APU, suck eggs and die. That's fantastic. Alright, here we go. Nope, dead again. Same thing. The connector came off. I don't think this has actually ever been opened before. And the connector came off, just I undid the screws on it, and then it just sort of flopped off. And I was like, right, okay, that ain't right. And there wasn't actually any attempt to remove that ribbon thing. It was already disconnected. So maybe it has been dropped and that took a shear force. Yeah. Flare on the bottom of the board. Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Yeah. Can you check 1819's also a little glass chip? I did see that glass chip, but I was just going to try that flare on the bottom idea in case something lights up on here. It may not be, but if there is, it's yeah. Anyway. Okay, ESD diode pack. Okay, so yeah, you get them all over the place. They're not a problem, thankfully. And yeah, as you say, you can leave them off. If not ideal, but it can be done. I do not have another power supply, Catherine, that's why. That there is a problem. That should not be happening. It's very fine heat, like where it's only talking a few itty bitty and it looks like that was just a startup. Okay, that one there is just a reflection. Yeah, that's... I'm gonna have to find out if this person dropped it. It's very rare for me to need... Ah, damn you, where'd you go? It's very rare for me to need a tripod stand for this thing. Oh great, my crotch has been shown, that's fantastic. So it's certainly trying to power up. Yeah. But not good. Well, I think this is perhaps outside of my capabilities at this point. Do you want a south bridge? No thanks. That's me being very honest. Just a dead set. No thanks. It's not going to be worth it for me. I'm going to just simply tell them doesn't seem to be recoverable. Okay, those caps are actually just the caps for the ones that we measured earlier. The 529 ones. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's a little more intricate than just an SMC. Oh shit. Anyone know where I put that? Oh god. Where did I put that chip? I left that chip on the heatsink and then I put the heat... Oh no. That's really bad of me. That is actually really bad of me to have done that. I don't think it would have caused any dramas, but it's still not good. It'll be stuck down on here somewhere. Yep, there it is. Fortunately, it was still stuck onto the heatsink. Still, not good. The trouble is I don't have a station that's capable of replacing this one. And we don't know if it is just the south bridge. What I'm going to do is I'll put that chip back on, I'll reassemble everything as it was, and yeah. Seems like these things get easier after you've punished them a couple of times. Fear is not the only factor that's driving me in this choice not to pursue this much further. I'm thinking of literal time wastage at this point versus what I'm going to get from the customer. It's a little bit different with MacBooks. I suppose, you know, you could argue that I am copping out. I suppose I am. I guess let me come up with a convincing reason why I should ignore everybody. Oh, I've got other jobs to get done. Oh yeah, I definitely wouldn't be able to send it to you, that's for sure, Phil. Yeah. I'd be like, well, that's $150 for freight, sir. And my customer would be like, oh hell no. Well, that is true, Miles, yeah. And the other thing is, yeah, when you start holding on to these things in the workshop, that is more room taken up. And I'm already surrounded right now by quite a few MacBook chassis that I've run out of slots for. I mean, they will be cleared in the next day or so, but the point is, it is building up. If this was something that got sorted out fairly quickly, you know, I'd be happy about that. Oh my god, what have I done with that chip? Oh, there it is. Man, that's a Rossmann style flux job. How embarrassing. Yeah, I don't know why I'm trying to place it. Hey, Eric. What we're mostly waiting on here is for that center thermal pad to finally go liquid. Because all the other pads on the outside, they're already liquid. But that center thermal one it's not even close. There it goes. Let's give it a chance, it'll pull itself into place. And then we'll hit it once more again and it'll drag itself back into orientation, but it'll have all the solder squeezed out. There we go. And you can do better than that, Chippy. Not perfect, but tolerable. Let's see if we can rake in a slightly nicer fillets. And you have a limited amount of time you can get the raking done. Wunderbar. 600 likely caused by a short line inside the South Bridge. Okay. Guess we'll see. Now the downside is I've sullied up this board with my flux left everywhere. It's not a pretty sight. Yeah, it's a bit tricky to try and clean up that flux too. Use the old paper napkin trick of cleaning up the mess, but yeah, it's less than satisfactory. I could hit it with the PCB cleaner spray. That's probably going to be my best option, to be honest. Or I can just leave it since it's dodgy. It will work now. Yeah, that'd be a laugh if it really did. Now the only trouble with the spray is I'm going to have to make sure it doesn't go near the CPU. Give it a good shake, 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 shake it off. Hey Jason, trying to get the workshop set up for the new PC cameras. Oh good, very good. I was just about to switch over to one of your boards, by the way. Okay, there's still a little bit of flux in that corner there. Okay, you got a new 144. The one I've got on is a 144. It's pretty good. It's a little bit weird in the way they power it, but it's pretty good overall. Okay. Alright, so that's done. No one will ever know that I was there, which is a big fat lie. Don't try cleaning RAM modules WD-40. That would actually be, yeah, that would actually be quite disastrous, simply because of the oil factor. Man, the stuff they use is... I'm just going to clean the die out first, and then I'll work on chipping away the stuff around the edges. I really don't know why I'm caring, because we know this is dead at the moment. I do actually have a large preheater Yuri. I used it the other night to pull some CPUs off some MacBook boards. What the fuck? Just broke it? Damn it. I just don't have it on my bench. Yeah, because it is a fairly large thing. It's something I have on... I keep it on a shelf under the bench. And in the rare occasion that I need it, I bring it up. Yeah, Phil, I know. Just... It irks me to leave something contaminated too much. At the very least, I want it to... If they turn... No, for God's sake, Fry. Throw in the towel. I think I've got a brain slug on my head. But I did it with my own free will. Okay. This stuff smears out pretty well, so I don't actually need to completely cover it. As I apply pressure and swivel it around a bit, it will spread, thankfully, because I'm glad that we don't have the days of having to basically try and use a bluing surface just to get things right. If you ever done metalwork, you'll know what a bluing table is. Well, you might know what a bluing table is. Basically, it's a way of determining if things are really flat. So you use a bluing table and you just keep going until you've got a perfectly even layer of blue on your device. Alright, let's put this thing back together. Unfortunately, I cannot hand it to the customer as is, so I have to... Coda, that's pretty... Yeah, mine took a long time to be shipped as well, but mind you, in fairness, that was because I did order during the Chinese holiday. Again, the hard drive looks fine, even if it is... It's probably going to die, but it's still fine. So we'll just shut that down. Okay, so that hard drive is now switched off, which means I can go and take it out of the recovery server. Interesting to note that with this hard drive, I took it out of the recovery server and it's scorching hot. It's often the way that a lot of drives fail is due to the extreme heat that they tend to subject themselves to. And it's not from my server assembly. Oh, shoot. Which way do you go? No. Maybe. It's just, yeah, these spinning rust drives, they generate a lot of heat on their own. You don't have to help them one bit. Wait, is that right? I mean, definitely it's all profit driven. I mean, it probably costs them half the price for a hard drive than it does a solid state. And of course they can say, look, we've got 1 terabyte of space. By the time you use up 300 gigabytes, it will have killed itself, but that's irrelevant. Not to mention they're probably trying to flush out all the old stock because they know that hard drives are on the way out. So it's like, well, let's get rid of as much as we can while we can. Oops. Okay, so that's obviously the Southbridge thermal pad. See if we can get this in without ruining everything even more. And yeah, I'm definitely looking at just selling that PlayStation Slim that I have, that PS4 Slim. I don't have any compelling reason for it to have one. Like I said, we're fine with Tekken's running fine on the PC, and that was basically the only real game that we cared about when it came to the PlayStation. See ya, DJ. One thing that's driving me absolutely bonkers mad at the moment with the PC setup that we have is we've got a couple of GameSir T1S controllers, so we've got 2 of them. And every now and then they have this dreadful behavior of multi-pressing or something. Yeah, you press one of the D-pad buttons once and it just runs off uncontrollably for a couple of moments. So I don't know what's causing that. It's annoying the hell out of me. It's like, come on, I'm buying stuff that's supposed to be relatively okay, and you're still, and on Windows, at Windows 10, I've got all the proper stuff, and I'm still having a shitty experience. Just had to loosen those up because this one was slightly out of orientation. Yeah, we've got Tekken 7. The only reason why I ended up the GameSir one is because it was, well, it was the only wireless PlayStation stylish, dual shock type thing that I could find when I was buying everything else. Is this Gorilla? It doesn't matter whether I'm going through the Steam Deck or whether I run it directly, it just still does it. And it's inconsistent. Sometimes it'll do it, sometimes it won't. It's quite frustrating. Stick drift, it's not even, well, that's the thing. I could understand if it was the drift, but it's actually on the D-pad, like, and all you got are 4 switches there. It seems like the driver or whatever, it sort of gets stuck in a loop or something, because it doesn't seem to be the transmission of the pad. I don't know, it's frustrating, that's all I can say. It's frustrating as feck. That's me trying to remember the orientation of all this crap. Alright, there's that stick of, that BS stick that sits down here. What the hell were they even thinking with this? You know, it's got no... What does it even stick onto? It's like it's got a groove in it, as if it's meant to go on something, but... I don't know. Where do you belong, little buddy? I think when it comes to hard drives or solid state drives, you really should be replacing them every 3 to 4 years, regardless of what they are. No, it can't really be dirty because it's happening on both of them and they're brand new. Did you fit there? Is this where you fit? Damn it, someone tell me where this thing fits because it's annoying me. Something's burning. I better go check. It's probably my wife burning toast. Did you burn your toast? Yeah. Yeah, that's burnt. My wife was toasting mountain bread, which is just this really thin kind of wafer bread, and that's what's left of it. The rest of it kind of got turned to charcoal. Uh, the kitchen is basically at the opposing end of the house, and I still smelt it. It's quite a distance from here. Top chassis where the ports are. What does that even mean? I mean, there. But I mean, how's it supposed to fit on? This is where I start claiming that everything's a dumb design. It's what you do when you're losing the battle. Keep your sanity. Just declare everything's a dumb design. Well, that's a dumb design. Stupid design. Stupid designers. Oh, what? Oh, we've got more remains, have we? Give me. Oh, that's what was retrieved out of the toaster. Yeah. Don't need a smoke alarm while I'm awake. My nose picks it up pretty quick. No, but seriously, I don't know where this goes. It kind of looks like... Yeah, it just doesn't seem to... it just... Yeah, it's... I hate you. I hate you so much, little strip of randomness. Top chassis, you'll see 3 smaller ones. It goes between the others. Alright. I think I remember that now. Right, I found it. That is probably not going to ever get back on. Now I understand. It goes on here. Marvelous. Marvelous. Marvellous. People who don't play cricket will not understand that. Mother flipper flip. Gotta get this in first. Leave that off to the side. Drop you down. Slot you in. I said slot you in. Oh, we're gonna have a war now. War we're declared. Right. Stupid stick once foam. What was that brutal insult I just saw there? Phil, you could not catch a paper bag floating in the wind. Some high grade angst going on around here. Right. See the top of my balding head with extra new scars. Yeah, except it's the other way up, Paul. Why do I do it this way? Okay, orientation keyed. Right, I'm guessing I need now to put this back on. What's this? Don't worry, Paul. My mum just called me. She's disappointed in him for insult. Things get brutal around here. Kind of strange that that is just a push down type design. It's leaves me feeling a little lackluster about the overall build of this thing. And this is the point when you start going, I have no clue where most of these things go. That's okay. Fortunately, I did mark these damn SOBs, I think. Yep, there. Hey, that's not right. That doesn't feel right. You're a shorty, aren't you? You're a shorty? You're not a short. That's weird. That one there, it's... Oh, of course. Okay, there's no plastic body to go against. That's why. Alright. That'll explain that. Hey, it's this... No, the war were declared thing was Futurama. With, crap. I'm trying to remember the episode now. Basically, they all get conscripted to go fight. Shite. Damn it. Okay, one of these is longer than the other. You don't have a red mark, so you don't get to play. You feel too short in there. Okay, that finished in the correct position. That finished in sufficiently correct position. I got a third screw here and I don't know why. And I don't believe it came from back here. I'm pretty sure there was only the two, wasn't there? I'm fairly sure there was only the two, so I don't know what you're for. I feel that this one actually bounced out of there. That's my belief, and I'm going to try and stick with it for as long as I can. Oh yeah, he needs mod status. Yeah. Alright. The only trouble with giving mods out is that everybody's a mod these days. It's kind of like a war and everybody's got nukes. Yeah, I think I kind of made this hard for myself than I need to. I think I should have... Yeah, well, doesn't matter. It is what it is. Now you're just going to have to suffer, Mr. Daniels. Suffering is what you're good at. I don't know, Steve. Maybe I should add some more dust. Kind of feels like I should add more dust, don't you think? Like I can see the receptacles where these are meant to go. Just struggling to actually get them in there. PD nets, yeah, that would be something. Fortunately, I'm very glad to say I do not have those little terrors. It's one upside of not having children. So you don't tend to get nets. Okay, truck this. I'm just going to put in the top plate screws in the interim. Of these ones. These are all the ones that do not have a black dash on them. Oh. Yeah, that's right. This needs to hit the bin. I do tend to agree. I'm going to relieve my frustrations by doing a MacBook board after this. And then after I'm done with this, I'm going to go and beat my wife in Tekken before she reclaims her powers and starts beating the living daylights out of me. See, I get the first sort of mover advantage a little bit in Tekken. Like, we haven't played it for a long time. I get out of the gate pretty good. And god damn it, there is this one screw. There it is. Yeah, I get out of the gate pretty good and I can beat her fairly well. But Then she turns the tables on me, and before I know it, I'm like 20 games down and still haven't had a win, and she's just laughing at me the whole way. It's very offensive. I found that out the hard way when I bought her a PlayStation many years ago, and I bought Tekken with it. And she was like, Tekken? What is this dumb game? You know, you just, why are you, yeah, the fighting, that's all you do. And anyway, yeah, she started to get good at it, and then before I knew it, I was struggling. And then she basically dominated the whole family. And, the family's got a bunch of brothers in it, and they're all gamers. Well, a fair few of them are gamers. She just constantly beat them. I found it amusing because she was beating them. Okay. Funnily enough, she usually plays male characters and she beats me. And I mostly play the female characters. I particularly like the chainsaw cyborg one with the head. She rips her own head off and stuff like that. That's pretty cool in my book. Okay, I'm thinking I have to just push this down actually. Maybe like this? No. You are frustrating. There's a metal tab here. And it's sort of... it's kind of getting in the way a little bit. Aha, got it. Yep. Knowing the metal tab there was the key. So kids claiming that they're being hacked. Oh yeah, that's always a crack up. Oh, I'm being hacked. Or they complain about the controllers. Oh, the controllers did something weird. It wasn't my fault. And it's like, okay, I'll have my controller. Oh, it's doing it now here too. And it's like, yeah, okay. Clearly you can't play. Well, that was an interesting experience for the evening. We fixed up a busted off connector, we played around with the Redriver, and in the end we achieved diddly flippin' squat. Diddly doo. What did I find out the hard way? The little oh yeah, that thing, yeah. Oh, I didn't even get to touch it. I didn't get to assault that thing on my own terms. It just straight out decided I'm a victim. It's like, I'm a victim! And, yeah, harikari'd itself or whatever. And I was really hoping that was going to be the fault. It would have been very nice. I said it would have been a beautiful introduction to fixing these machines. But no. It was all a lie. It was the cake fault. Oof. Almost forgot to put the long screws in. Did I forget to put the... I bet you I have forgotten to put a long screw in the other side. I guarantee you. I have forgotten. There'll be one of these spare. I guarantee it. Come on. One spare. One spare? No? Okay. I was wrong. And I'm happy to be wrong. The notches will not line up that I've marked on the black pen there because obviously I've mixed up the actual items. The screws. Okay, something's wrong there. That's... no, you can't be that long. This should not be sticking out that far, surely. This far I can understand, but that far? What have I done? Something's not right there. Have I put something long in a short or what? I always thought they were all the same length. See? That's poking out way too far. I mean, it's threading, but I just don't trust it. Oh, alright, okay. You got to understand, I don't trust things like that, because to me that is a massively long... Geez, yeah, Paul, just stick a driver straight into the flex. Why not? You can understand, though, where my apprehension for that comes from, right? It's just not a normal thing to expect to see. Oh, what now? Woohoo! Someone just bought a copy of Flexboard View. If you're on this chat, thank you very much. Very happy to see those sales. I gotta pay for my CNC machine one day. Trouble is, every time I think I'm gonna go buy it, I chicken out. So like at the moment, I think I've got like 550 or 500 US dollars worth of CNC gear in the cart. And I get close to hitting the buy now, but then I think, you know what, Paul, you could use that 500 for so many other things. Hey, GD Tech. Alright. Okay. The tip on this Torx driver is wrecked. I guess that's what happens when you get cheap ones. Except it wasn't my choice. It was just some cheap, nasty ones I did have. Okay, which way? Ah! Nope. Okay, why do I feel like you should go like that? Oh, crunchy noises make me terrified. Okay, 2 pivots. There is a specific way to do this. No kidding. No freaking kidding. Feel like I just don't know which side I'm supposed to be pivoting. I get a feeling this side should be the pivot. It's sort of like a, yeah, like I said, it's like one of those Japanese woodbox challenges or Chinese woodbox challenges. There we go. Ha, suck on that. Well, these I actually got from Element 14 many years ago. They're yeah, they're obviously not my wearer ones, my wearer ones. But I don't have my wearer ones in larger sizes at this point. Okay, ta-da! It's all back together, and best of all, look at that. Look, no screws missing. Fantastic. I consider that a success personally. I'm just going to plug it in and prove that it's still broken. They're talk security, yeah. Yeah, so we got the white light. Yep, and power's off. So no behaviour has changed in spite of everything that was done. So now we get on to something that I have a remote chance of fixing, and that is a MacBook board. Oh, we don't need this. Make sure I take my stickers off after I'm done. Otherwise what happens is I start getting these piling up in random places and I won't touch them because, yeah, if they've got anything in them, like, wow, maybe I'm still working on that machine, even if I'm not. Okay. One seriously messed up 1466, 165. It's already had the J tag pulled from it, so it must have been corroded at some point. Someone's butchered the living frick out of the keyboard connector. Hey. Well, first trick on this one is going to be replacing that J9500 or whatever it is. I'm just going to get a 1466 box. Also zoom in a bit more now. There we go. 2 hours and 45. Oh man, that's painful. So this is why I basically, you know, even if someone sent me a pre-built PCH, it's like, no thanks, it's already been too long. I mean, it'd be, if it was my own thing, maybe I would, but it's not. Update description. I don't have a... This doesn't have a job code, so I can't. Ah, that's where that screw went. So it will stay as it is now, and people will just have to work out that it's not what is on the screen. Easiest thing I can do is actually just take out job data. See you, Coda. Enjoy your day of work and hopefully you have more success than I did. Yay, that's a butchered connector. Now the fun thing about this connector is that it's right next to the camera connector and the speaker fan connector and the power connector, and they're all a little bit sensitive. So they get upset when you warm this thing up enough to remove it. However, we will still do that. But patience is definitely the key with this one. Okay, I'm just going to have to take the sticker off because it will become quite gnarly. Oops. Okay, first trick with these is it helps if you pickle the pins with a bit of leather. You're not going to get all of it with leather because otherwise you're going to start contaminating this camera connector. But you do have enough access to get some of them. Now, of course, this probably won't even be the fault of the board, but it's just more a case of, well, this happened in the process somehow. So we're kind of starting from behind the line. That's okay. This probably was a training board. Now, of course, some people will suggest heating from the other side, but the problem is there is other things, because we're not doing it as a part donor removal situation, there are other things on the other side, so we can't just bake the other side the and get it off that way, we have to take from the top side. Like I said, it's just patience is the key. It will get there. It does take a long time. You can sort of cheat a little bit by getting a bit closer down here on this side. You just don't want to get near that camera connector too much. You can see it's already starting to melt up the top on the left hand portion there. The hard bit's down here where we weren't able to put any leaded solder in. It will get there, it really will. It's just a case you need to get the whole board up to temperature in that area. We're not being nice to the connector. We're not deliberately going slow to be nice to the connector. We're being nice to the camera connector. Here it comes. I really didn't want solder getting on that, but it is now. Okay, we have a similar situation up here. Now the problem, okay, we don't want to damage this connector. With these smaller ones, if you break the locking tab, the smaller ones you can actually just pull the tab off and put a new one on. But the longer ones, the plastic is actually interwoven into the pins as part of the molding, so you can't get away with that trick. So again, we're just going to have to pickle it with leaded solder and take our time. There's also two connections at the front of the connector under the plastic, but we can't really get to them too easily. And you don't really want to force it too much, because if you rip them off where they're connected to the circuit board, it does tend to make putting the new one down a little bit hard. You can just see it on the edges there. If you're lucky, what is nice that can happen is that the metal prongs that are inside the connector, damn it, I'm melting that, damn it. The metal prongs, they'll actually detach out of the plastic, and then you can just freely desolder them from the board. Like that. And then you just get your big soldering on. A little bit of solder. Oh, good. Mark, yeah, we sort of went through the initial diagnostic processes, and yeah, we got started. Unfortunately, it was still a dead end. at this point. Give me some flux. No. Alright, now we need some replacement connectors. That's fun. Let's find a donor. Donyo, where are you? Soldering tip size really depend on what you're doing, but I use, well, my big chisel one's a 1mm I think, or a 1.2, and then I use the, damn it, that's broken in there, you can see that's no good. And then I use the T30N as my yeah, the T30N is my, what do you call it? Damn it, can't think. My micro pencil. We can do a nasty style extraction by heating from the bottom on this one, just to demonstrate it being done. The big problem I have is it produces a hell of a lot of smoke. Let's see if I can get enough elevation here. Just. And I need to support the board. Hey creature. Catch you later, Luke. Unfortunately, I cannot focus any further than that. That's as high as I can get, I'm afraid. Maybe I'll just take the microscope away. The only trouble with not having the microscope is I can't tell when the solders start to reflow. we can do the keyboard connector the same. But it's a little harder to extract the keyboard connector with this angle. But we'll try. God damn it, Walt Disney just took another 12 bucks from me. I don't think I've even watched anything on the Disney Channel in ages. God damn it, this is taking longer than I like. There's one very high temperature donor right now. Yeah, I think I'm going to reflow this one in. I got to reflow it in the same reason why I had a hard time getting the other one removed, is because you don't have easy access to these back connections here. You can always clean it up later, that's not a problem. Atrophy. The hardest part about when you're reflowing in these sort of scenarios is to avoid touching the plastic. Because when you start touching that plastic, that's when it starts to, it develops pits. Well, it's already tacked itself down, so now we've got to just go through it, let it do its job. Hopefully that's done. Okay, as usual, these back two here almost never seem to flow. Probably didn't help that there was a bit of junk in there. Now we can try and, reflow it again, but I will get the micro pencil and just slowly try to... Okay, up here we've also got non-contact. So this is the part where I'm talking about we have to clean up afterwards. You've got to go through and check all these things. What can help a little bit is if you put an object under the board to give you a bit of a tilt up. And then you can see what you're working on a little bit better. And lots of flux. One way you know, because you go through and you test each pin with the tweezers or something like that to make sure it doesn't move. That legitimately is pretty much how you go about it. Yeah, creature, they're doublets. Yeah. For extra reinforcement. Now the most annoying thing with this process is when you accidentally touch that golden coloured shield that's surrounding it, because solder loves to very quickly jump up onto it. Now it looks messy at the moment, but again, we can clean this up. We just got to get the extra solder down there, and then we can use the hot air assist, and that will let us do the rest. Now this is the truly hardest part. You gotta be really careful to just get your tip in the gap. Almost touch the side. Ah, mother fracker. Yep, that's what happens. So you touch the side and it's not over, but it's just a case of it's really frustrating. Very frustrating when that happens. See Marcel. Yep. Joy. So we'll have to get rid of that. At least you got to see me do it. It is a micro pencil. And I know you know it is. Might be able to get those joins to reflow for us. Alright, they're all nicely connected now. We'll do the other side. basically the same story here. We'll go along, check each pin, see if it's got proper contact. Well, they actually are all, they're all secure, so we'll leave it at that rather than messing with it more than we have to. Just get this flux out of the connector, because that makes, once that cools off, that's going to be a pain. Godfrey, these are not bridges, they are just, it's a feature of the connector to provide more strength for the holding down. But I'm cleaning up this one because I feel like it didn't reflow properly. There we go. Now I'm happy. Alright, on to the keyboard connector now. Try to lift up the locking tab first. On the first side I did. Well, I'll go and have another look. I'm pretty sure it was all clear, but I will go have another look. But of course, if it's not bridged, then you're going to be in trouble. The only reason why I'm using a moderate amount of flux here at the moment, actually it is a large amount of flux, is to let it sort of stick the connector down. Godfrey's going to accept that. Alright, that's the kind of person I like. Someone who's willing to believe in what they say. As opposed to scum buckets like myself who will just run away and make excuses. We're not worried about bridges here again. This is a case of you get the solder down and you make it look pretty afterwards. So we're just using some 250 air, and that's going to let us get the heat so that when we touch the pins, the solder should wick up the length of the pad and the pin. Because otherwise you end up with solder connecting only just on the very end, and that's not very strong at all. We're just going through the process of removing the excess. We don't want to use wick, because what happens is if you use wick, you tend to you end up sucking up all the solder that was meant to be on the pins. So it can be a little bit frustrating, you know, trying to slowly remove the excess solder, but it's less frustration than hitting it with the wick. The wick takes too much, so you put more back, and then yeah, it's a bit of a bad cycle. Just a case of being a little bit patient. It does get there, bit by bit. And the nice thing is though, while you're doing this, it is assisting if there is any sort of part of the pad that hasn't yet had the solder flow up, then this will usually resolve it. This one's been a little bit persistent. There we go, it's cleared. We've got one on the very end there now. And that's cleared, so they're all good. And now we have the tricky tricks, which are these two over here. Now fortunately these ones are actually sufficiently exposed that I may be able to sneak in, get enough heat onto the pad, sneak in some solder. I'm sorry we've lost focus, but there we go. Yep. So again, heat up the pad on that pin, just drop in a little dash, and that's soldered. Looking good. Again, we'll just flush out that flux as much as we can. If you don't get the flux out now, then you sort of like, you have to wait till you pretty much go through the ultrasonic cleaner to get it out of the connectors. And I mean, that's fine. It's just a bit of a pain if you're trying to test at the same time. Like if you don't want to, if you want to be able to test the unit before you put it through the ultrasonic. I think we're good. We'll just clean this one up as well. Miles, the reason why the Tans didn't complain because it was only 250. It was, yeah, just a nice summer morning of heat. Alright, let's look for the bridge, and I think Jeffrey's right. Yeah, he's right. There it is there. Sorry, Godfrey, not Jeffrey. Hey, Sodomizer? That's a terrible name. Too bad I said it before I realised. Okay, again, I'm going to need some assistive heat here. Particularly that this is generally cooled down. In this particular instance, it wouldn't have mattered because they are actually all part of the ground, but it was a good spotting nonetheless. So I do applaud that. See, I thought you guys were talking about these units here. But yeah, thankfully it wouldn't have mattered anyway, but it's good to not have that sort of thing as a general practice. Okay, it's 12:30 in the morning and we're only now just getting to the point where we might be able to see if what is wrong with this board. It isn't always the case, Godfrey. I mean, it's a different connector might not have those pins merged like that, but in that particular case, we were lucky. Well, I was lucky, I suppose. Okay, we've got our chipmunk installed. We've got our power supply, needs to be turned on. First time for today. So here we go. Ooh. Flash up and down. Okay, so we've probably, let's see, short circuit on PP bus maybe? Let's get continuity mode. Let's have some fun. Maybe. Fuse. Yay, short on PP bus. Okay, so we've probably got a cap that's cracked its brains open. Hey Jason, we just replaced fixing up this board of yours. We just replaced the keyboard connector, we replaced the J9500 connector, we've got a short on PP bus, and I'm just looking for the culprit right now. There it is. There you are. Yeah, I think. Oh wait, no, you're actually you're a piece of thread. Way to make me look like an idiot. Maybe this will be complicated. Oh, good God. 342 is wrecked. Let's see how bad that is. We'll wash it up a bit more with some 80-20. And that will reveal to us a little more if it's corrosion or just junk. 80-20 is handy. Though it does contain water, it is very good at removing residues left by liquid damage. And if you just follow it up with some 100% IPA, you should be fine. But yeah, I'm fairly sure there's a shorted cap amongst this, and I'm just trying to avoid... Well, we've got a bad cap on backlight. Let's see, backlight driver faulty? Nope. And that's going to need cleaning up, but that's not our short. It may be one of the caps. Oh man, we've got another cracked glass chip there, but I don't think that's going to be our fault either. I mean, we will have to tackle it. HS105 has had corrosion around it, so that's not a good thing. This chip up here, it's okay, this all looks like old flux to me. That sort of ghostly white remain that's usually from old flux. So we may have to actually bring out the short detection kit. It's good. Did you mix up your own, Daniel? But yeah, you get a lot of people and they sit there trying to wash away liquid damage or clean up liquid damage with pure IPA, and it just doesn't go away. And that's because, you know, although IPA is very handy, it doesn't have a lot of the junk will not dissolve into it. Yeah, this is all old flux. But we are looking for a short. There's a bit of... Is that a ball squeezage down there? Okay, we've got squeezage there. And we've got squeezage there. That's some pretty decent pop-outs. Well, we'll try the old style of short finding. The first thing I will do though is check that the CPU is okay. Or at least possibly okay, before we go any further. 13, that's good. No problem there. Is this STS? Jason in here? Okay, first thing we're going to do is try to see if we can actually... Do we get any reasonable current? No, we've got... barely half a watt. That's not going to be enough for us. Alright. Fair enough. Let's put some wires down. Now, because remember, when you are... Wrong box. When you are doing short detection by voltage injection, just because it's PP bus does not mean that you can go along and, you know, throw 12 volts or whatever into it, because you don't know if it's going all the way through to the CPU. Yeah, maybe you've got a shorted MOSFET somewhere. So you'd need to try really hard to keep it below the voltages that could cause damage to things like CPU. I didn't see any that were physically cracked this time, which is why I'm now having to go to the injection method, because it's not keeping the power up long enough for me to, you know, get a build up of heat. So before we go any further, of course I need to set the voltage way down. We're going to go 0.8 volts and 2 amp, we'll go 3 amps, 0.8, 3 amps, so it's about 2.5 watts of heat. Oh, Miles, you tried that and you put 5 volts in, it went kabang bang. That's unfortunate. Okay, let's see, here we go. Alright, we got a mystery here. Either that or the fuse is... We've got no current being drawn, so either the fuse is gone on us. Ah, shite. Well, whatever that short was, it is now gone. Ah, that's no fun at all. Unless I deluded myself. Unless it was a case of there was energy in the circuit and I just happened to be bleeding it out. But normally it doesn't happen like that on PB bus, but okay, the behavior has changed. Yeah. Okay, voltage mode. So whatever it was has changed on us, and that's not a good thing. Okay, see what we've got on PP bus. 8.6, so SMC is running 337, 338. That is actually, yeah, that's lower than spec, and it's slowly rising. That's not a good sign. If it's slowly rising, it'll be interesting to see if this all of a sudden comes to life. If it gets to the point where the SMC power good state, it detects 342 is good and starts turning everything on, but it doesn't look like that's happening. If I had to say anything, I probably would have said it's a dodgy SMC already. Okay, I'm just going to check to see how the behavior is on this side. Now, bring in the gym cam. Where are you? Infraredo. If it is the SMC, it does generally show up. What? What? Okay, schematics. My body was getting in the way then. We've got mostly reflections there. Alright, where are you? That's the ISL. That warmth is just it supplying normal amounts of power, so there's nothing special there. If we focus on the SMC a little. Well, there's a little bit of warmth coming up just up the top here. Just around here somewhere. Oh, that's right, we've got that. Okay, we've got that chipped part. I think I'll go fix that up. But there was certainly something up there as well. It could have just been reflection though. But yeah, we'll go back and fix up that part that we saw that was chipped and damaged. Now the only reason why we didn't immediately tackle that was because we were looking for a big fat short. So who knows, maybe it was that chipped part and it just blew itself out. I've had to replace this in the past, I can't remember why. Not on this machine obviously, but just others. Okay, Jason. Well, we'll see how we go, shall we? I mean, it is an 8 gig board, so it's kind of worth repairing if we can. You're also chipped. I seem to recall having this bit of a nightmare the last time. Every board I tried to find a replacement, it was chipped. Chipped, not badly, but not what I would consider risk worthy. It's just in one of those positions where it's basically... Oh look, they covered that one, see? Yeah, it's just in a bad spot overall. It's going to cop a lot of damage. There's enough under there at the moment. There's enough there that I can just drop this down. It's a little bit naughty, but if they were perfectly flat pads, then yeah, I'd have to put some new, I'd have to reball it. Oh, for flop. And you gotta hold these things so delicately. Obviously I haven't taken those cables out yet, but we'll get there. That helps if you match it up, Paul. Still nothing. Joy. So it wasn't that. We're running quickly into troubles here. $8.56, yeah, alright, okay, we'll live with that. $3.3. It's interesting that it did power up momentarily before. This has had the SMC replaced by the looks of it. That or it was just reflowed. Kind of wondering if what I was seeing up here in the infrared was actually just a reflection. Because I can't really see anything other than the shiny object itself. Sometimes when you get boards like this, where they have been caked up so badly like this, it actually is the correct or the better course of action to ultrasonic them first. Okay, oh look, there's a ton of corrosion under there. Might not actually be affecting the SMC though. Yeah, I'm kind of thinking this needs to take a swim in the ultrasonic, because I have a feeling that there's probably enough junk on it that the contacts, there's probably levels of continuity that we don't want under there, and that misbehavior seems to have come about since we washed it. So yeah, I think we'll retire for the night. Sadly, a night without success thus far. We'll retire for the night. I'll put this through the ultrasonic and see how it is in the morning. Unfortunately, not much else I can do. It's getting a bit late, and I'm growing weary of being here. And I haven't even been paying attention to chat. I'm sorry. So we had a dud Xbox and a dud 1466. Hey, good Friday night. Yeah, really winning. Alright, I'm out of here. You take care. I'll probably see you tomorrow. Until then, I'll catch you later.